Hello and welcome to Gen Z Finance. I'm an older Gen Z here on YouTube documenting my financial journey. Today's video is an overview of my 2021 investing plan and strategy. So let's get right into it. Before we begin, obligatory disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor, nor do I claim that the following strategy is even the absolute best way to invest for you or even myself. I am simply sharing what my current plan is, even though I know it is imperfect and incomplete. First, here is an overview of what I am trying to accomplish in 2021. My gross income is $60,000 and I plan to invest at least $30,000. Currently, the plan involves maxing out my HSA and Roth IRA, but not my 401k. However, depending on any bonuses or raise or just other non-full-time W-2 income that I receive, I may be able to max the 401k out as well. Next, I am going to share my basic investing strategy. I almost exclusively invest in index funds or index ETFs, particularly the total US stock, total US bonds, or total non-US stock indexes. The second component to my strategy is to invest early and often and automate the process as much as possible. And that's really my investing strategy. Everything else is built around these two main pillars. I did want to mention, though, that I do have a couple of individual stocks, currently less than 1% of my net worth, and the goal is that these continue to be no more than 3% of my total net worth, as I really want most of my money invested in indexes. Here, you can see an overview of my monthly investing schedule. So the accounts in white are completely automatic, and the ones in black involve more manual effort by me. You can see my employer-sponsored plans, including my 401k at my full-time job, and then my FICA alternative plan at my part-time job, will have new investment contributions every 2 weeks automatically invested. My Roth will be added to once on the first of every month, and then I hope to get into my HSA investment account at least 2 times a month and manually invest the newest contributions into that account. For my M1 Finance brokerage account, I do have auto invest turned on, and since they do allow purchases of fractional shares, all I really need to do for that is manually send money into that account every month. The amounts and days that I invest in there will probably vary just based on how the month is going with my income, spending, and any unforeseen expenses. So that's why it can't be completely automatic. I just need to have a little bit more say in what is being sent into that account to be invested every month. So on this slide is the breakdown of how much I will be investing into each type of account. You can get a good sense of where I'm investing my money, but the vast majority is in tax advantage accounts, whether that's my 401k, HSA, IRA, although I will have almost $3,500 invested in the taxable brokerage at least. I like this amount because I do like the freedom and flexibility investing in non-retirement accounts gives you. Now, switching gears a little bit, I want to quickly show you what my current asset allocation is at the end of 2020. So previously we were looking at where and what type of account my money was invested in, and now we are looking at the type of asset my investments are in. You can see I am heavily invested in US stocks, and this happened mostly by accident, although I think for a 23-year-old, it's actually not that bad to be so heavily invested in stocks. Again, pretty much all of this is in indexes of each type of asset, so it's the US total stock market, the total international stock market, and then the total bond market. I also wanted to mention that this graph is from a spreadsheet I am using made by Millennial Money Honey here on YouTube and Instagram. There will be a link to her website where I got the spreadsheet down below, and I find it really helpful, so check that out as well. So I use that same spreadsheet to show actually what my target allocation is. I'm still pretty heavily invested in US stocks with this target allocation, but it would have 15% international stocks and then 5% bonds. I think this is fine for a young investor with my personal risk tolerance and timeline. But I did want to clarify that I'm still working on finding my quote unquote perfect or ideal asset allocation. Obviously, over time, my target will change, particularly with how much I want to hold in bonds, but I believe this is what I will be aiming for the next couple of years. So if this is where I want to be, how will I get there? Well, that is what rebalancing is for, and where I had to do a bit more thinking to really figure this out. So if you are unfamiliar with rebalancing, here's a quote from Investopedia and the definition that they give, and I will also be leaving more resources down below in the description box for you to check out. But pretty much I have 2 options to get to my target allocation. Option 1 is to sell the asset that I am overweight in, which in this case would means selling some of my US stocks and then using that money to buy in the assets that I am underweight in, international stocks and bonds. Or option 2, which is the method I will be using this year, is to just buy less US stocks than my target allocation would traditionally recommend that I buy, and then buy more of the international and bonds, so that overall my bonds and international stocks are increasing up to the target that I have set for them. This method usually takes longer than the traditional selling rebalance method and also involves paying more attention to future contribution allocations, but I'm okay with doing more of the work, and I'm actually going to walk you through exactly how I figured out all of this stuff and my strategy for this year. So here is my 2021 contribution amounts by the 3 main asset types I will be buying. Again, keep in mind that my target allocation is 80% US stocks, 15% international stocks, and 5% bonds. So you can see I'm actually planning on 8% of my investments to be bonds for 2021. So again, I am overbuying in one of my assets that I am currently underweighted on. This allocation probably won't get me exactly to my target, but it will definitely bring me a lot closer to it than I am today. And really, I don't expect my allocation to ever be 100% perfect just due to market fluctuations. So I would just like to see my allocation a bit more balanced than it currently is, and I think that this plan will definitely help me get there. This graph now shows both asset allocation and asset location by breaking down how much I will be investing in each account and what assets I will be purchasing in those accounts as well. Bonds are represented by the blue, US stocks by the dark green, and international stocks by the light green. I tried to follow general advice on which asset types are best kept in specific types of accounts. For instance, bonds are commonly recommended to be kept in pre-tax accounts before putting them in taxable or Roth accounts. At least that's what I was reading. I'll leave some more links and resources that I used for this down below so that you can look into this as well if you're unfamiliar with it. But as you can see, I will be purchasing US stock indexes in all of my accounts and will keep international stocks in my Roth IRA and brokerage. I actually found somewhat conflicting or unclear information on where to keep international investments, so I'm putting the majority in my Roth and just a little bit in my brokerage for now. Let me know down below if you invest in international stocks and where in your portfolio do you keep them, because I'd be really interested in hearing how people handle this. As promised, here is a little behind the scenes of how I come up with the specific dollar amounts in each account and asset type that I'm going to contribute to. So I created this small spreadsheet and listed out all of my accounts and how much I expect to put into each account for the year, which is what you see under the goal and targets over on the right-hand side, kind of. I then assigned those dollars to a specific asset type and divided the total amount invested in each asset type by my $30,000 investing goal to see my overall asset allocation in percentages, which are those percentages that you see on the bottom row. So hopefully that explanation makes sense, but it was pretty easy to make this spreadsheet, and it allowed me to quickly see the impact of what would happen if I changed how much I was investing in any particular account. So this screenshot shows a similar spreadsheet, except this is specific to my 401k only. Since I am investing in both my pre-tax and Roth 401k, I can actually make specific contribution allocations for both types of accounts, and I wanted to have different types of investments in each account, so that's why I use this spreadsheet. So for my 401k overall, 68% will be invested in a large cap US stock Fidelity Index Fund, 9% will be in a medium cap fund, and 9% will be in a small cap US stock Fidelity Index Fund. Finally, roughly 14% will be in bonds, but again, that only makes up about 8% of my entire investing plan. So this is specific to what is going to be going on in my 401k. And here is the final chart I have for y'all. This shows my overall 2021 investing by tax treatment. So including my pre-tax 401k, FICA alternative plan, and my HSA, almost 59% of my investments will be made in pre-tax accounts, 30% will be in Roth accounts, and I currently plan on 11% being in my taxable accounts. I am pretty happy with 89% of my investments being in tax-advantaged accounts, and I think sometimes people forget that even a taxable brokerage account can still have favorable tax treatment, and I do believe that it is an important account and an important piece of anyone's portfolio or investment plan, which is one reason I'm investing in it before I even completely max out my 401k. Now, I just want to say that this is my current investing plan. Returning viewers might know by now that I have a tendency to make a plan and then change it the next week. The most likely changes that could happen is that I end up investing more either into my 401k or brokerage or perhaps both. And that would definitely change the amounts that I would have invested in each account that I've presented in this video, but that might not change the overall asset percentage or allocation that much at the end of the day. And as I'm stating here, I'm going to reevaluate my 401k percentages during Q1. So exact numbers might change, but the general approach will be consistent. If I feel like I have way more extra cash flow at the end of every month, I might increase my 401k so that I don't invest too much outside of tax advantaged accounts. And so make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you're not already, so that you can stay up to date with any changes that I do make throughout the year as I respond to changes in my situation. That concludes everything I wanted to discuss in this video. On my channel, I do bi-weekly budget with me's using YNAB. I also track my monthly spending, savings, and net worth updates, as well as do videos like the one you are watching now, discussing investing or other FIRE related topics. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more, and follow me on Instagram at ZNEOfinance. I hope y'all are staying safe and healthy as always, and that you have a good rest of the day.